As always, Plank, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I went with the Big 12 as my winner of the week. Now, it has not been a long time that the Big 12 has spent in the winner's circle, unfortunately, with the loss of OU and Texas. But in diamond sports, they had hell of a season. You have 7 teams that play softball in the Big 12, which seems crazy, but that's it. 7. 3 of them made the postseason. All 3 of them are going to the Women's College World Series.
Big time.
And if you want to add like a UCF, they made it to the Super Regional since they're going to be here. And in diamond sports, I mean, come on. You've got 2 schools that are hosting, 3 schools that are hosting, You got Oklahoma and Texas. Texas Tech have done incredible things so far this season. Hate to see that West Virginia got left out. Kansas and Baylor are making coaching changes. So big ups to the Big 12 because they're winners in diamond sports this year. And who knows, they may come away with 2 national champions in both softball and baseball.
That'd be wild. That would be awesome. That really would be. I mean, you could have, I don't know, maybe getting way ahead of ourselves here, but you could definitely in softball have an all Big 12 final, and who knows in baseball.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Oh, that's right. With your winner loser. Listen, I understand.
And you're the guest, so you got to go first,
Sorry. I understand the NCAA takes a lot of grief, and we already teed off on the baseball regionals, but how are you not going to have gear there for a team to celebrate whenever they actually won? Everyone had hats. Almost everyone had a ticket. More on that in a second. But when Texas beat Arkansas to advance to the Women's College World Series, no hats, no shirts, no celebration. Everyone else had them.
It's funny because it's Texas.
I know. Here's the funny part of this, though, because Oklahoma didn't get its ticket. They send you this ticket that you take a picture with that you've seen. So Jake Scroggins, the equipment manager for Oklahoma, just happened to have the ticket from last year. So that picture you see with Oklahoma holding up the ticket, it hadn't arrived in time for them to actually have that new. Now they got the hats here, a little bit small for my big melon head, but it was pretty wild to see Texas advance to the Women's College World Series for the first time in a minute, but not have the proper gear to celebrate. And I'll pose this to you. If they had the hats and they had the Arkansas logo on them, wouldn't you still want them just as a point of pride to basically say, like, Gabe, Teddy has a pair of Texas workout shorts that he got from Roy Williams because he beat him 4 times. Wears them with pride because he beat him. You have that Arkansas hat you wear.
I have a weird story like that. I wasn't playing, but I was on the team, right, with the New Orleans Saints, and we had just lost, but I think Carolina also lost that day, so we ended up winning the NFC South because they lost too. And they passed out the gear in the locker room after we had just lost, and we were like, "This is do we put it on?" It was a really weird feeling.
You should have ran around screaming, "Yeah!"
Oh, I still have that hat. I still have it. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I didn't even play this game, but this is pretty cool. It was the first time in my career that I was on a division winner. So
That's awesome.
I was like, I am taking this hat and I'm taking this shirt, and y'all are never getting it back. I don't care that we just lost. I didn't play. Who cares?
NCAA sucks though. Just come prepared, please. Please, can they?
Let them have their gear.
They act like it's the first year they've done this stuff. It's amazing.
Yep. Not the first rodeo.
They've had a lot to deal with, okay?
They have.
And they're losing.
All
they've
issues
been losing.
they've created on their own. All right.
Yeah. No one's feeling bad for them. All right, Ted, who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, first I have to give a shout out. Rogers State, D2 national champion here in Oklahoma. Softball was awesome. They got the D2 national championship. They beat Cal State in Dominguez Hills. It was in Denver. So we got the D2 national champ right here in the state of Oklahoma in softball. It's a softball state, fellas.
Softball state.
What can we say about it? But I had to end up going with, how about Rafael Nadal? Unbelievable. Knocks off Djokovic in the quarterfinals. Number 1 Djokovic. And I believe he's won 13 straight French Open titles, and he's going for his 22nd Grand Slam. Unbelievable stuff. The dude is timeless, still getting it done on the clay court. A lot of fun to watch. Just an unbelievable shot maker. Shocked that he's still doing it at his age.
Have y'all ever been to one of those big tennis tournaments?
No.
Have not.
I've never been, but somehow, well, I know how. I could not sleep at all whenever I played in the NFL. And I ended up somehow getting into tennis because it was always on overseas late at night, like it's 4 in the
Australian
morning.
Open.
So I started watching that stuff, and I got really into tennis for a couple of years whenever I was in the NFL. Pretty random.
That's awesome.
I would like to go, whether it's the French Open, Wimbledon, something like. I think I would just like to experience. I don't know, watching all the stuff last weekend with the Champions League, and you had Formula One in Monaco and all that stuff. It's like I would like to take in some more European sporting events in person. They just look like a blast, man.
Was Coach Stoops at the Formula One in Monaco?
He's in
I don't
Italy.
know, but Kenny Stills was there, and we're going to get him on this podcast to talk about it.
I think Coach Stoops was there too.
Wow. How about that?
He was in France, I know, over the weekend, and I think they went down and caught the Formula One in Monaco. Wow. Unbelievable.
Very, very jealous. All right, who is your loser of the week?
I had to go with Deshaun Watson. You have the HBO documentary, or I guess not necessarily a documentary, but the HBO Real Sports came out, and because of that, a 23rd accuser has come out and joined the civil suit that makes it now 23 against Deshaun Watson. She says it was because she watched the Real Sports special, saw the contract, saw the bravery of the other women, and the quote from him where he says he didn't do anything wrong and has absolutely no regrets. She claims that's what pushed her to go ahead and file. So 23 charges, or I guess 23 different women have joined the lawsuit. And just a quick reminder, largest guaranteed contract in the history of the league has gone to Deshaun Watson. And that is looming over their head there at Cleveland.
And by the way, 15-month now investigation, Gabe. 15 months by the NFL and nothing.
I feel like it's one of the weirdest sports stories of our lifetime. And I know maybe the reason it doesn't get as talked about too much just because how awkward it is to talk about, and how I mean, it's I don't want to say it's a he said, she said thing. I mean, there's 23 women accusing the guy of essentially doing the same thing to all of them, but he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. And the guy just didn't play last year because he's been accused in civil court of sexual assault by all these women. Like, it's one of the weirdest stories in sports in my lifetime. Yep. And is the NFL just going to let him play?
Well, to add to the weirdness of it, during the tenure where he still hasn't played, he signed the biggest contract guaranteed.
That's the weirdest part about it.
In the history of the league.
The least surprising part of it is that it came from the Cleveland Browns.
No doubt.
That's the least surprising part.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing too. Go ahead, Gabe. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's just, I am so curious to see what the NFL does. Like, is he really going to just trot out there week one with all this going on? Like,
looks like it.
That's just so hard for me to believe. And imagine being one of those women if he just, not only did he get that contract, if he just trots out there week one, I don't know, man. I will not be rooting for Deshaun Watson. I know that.
Here's the thing. a couple of different grand juries refused to pursue charges. That doesn't mean that nothing illegal took place.
Right. Exactly.
It means that they don't believe there's enough evidence to convict him. Right. I think we can all agree. Like, I don't know. I wasn't there. Thank God. But I don't know what the standard for pressing charges is. And I don't even, know the standard for what the civil, standard is there. I don't know that. But I think we can all agree that something very bad went on, right?
Agreed.
I mean, at a minimum.
Ted, you and I both know when you're in the NFL, you find your like body maintenance people, right?
Yep.
And maybe if you're living part-time in another city in the off season, you have one there. You've got one where you're playing the season. Some guys, they've got a person that they'll fly in
everywhere. Yeah.
Fly everywhere. Like, so you're talking 2, maybe 3 people. I mean, this guy was going to how many different massage therapists, and you got 23 of them now saying he did the same weird stuff. I find my guys to root for in the NFL, and it's usually the OU guys or guys that I've played with, guys that I know somehow. Like, I will not be rooting for Deshaun Watson ever again. I know you are innocent until you're proven guilty. I understand that, but it's too weird for me, man. I mean, it's too weird for me. I can't
remember if we talked about this on here or not, but did you see that the day after the HBO special aired that Stefanski was asked about it and he said, "Oh yeah, I didn't see it." How can you not see it? How can you not watch that? This is the guy you just guaranteed $250 some million to. You're not even the least bit interested as to what they may be saying. Yeah, I didn't catch it.
He should have said, our lawyers told me to tell you that I did not watch it. Because that is what Kevin Stefanski. It's
unbelievable.
It's it's such a weird story. I mean,
very odd.
And we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, I will.
As soon as he plays, like, he's going to play, and I don't know when it's going to be, but he's going to play. I hope the NFL media does their job and makes them answer as to why it is okay with all this pending and what we know about it, that this is going to be a representative out there on Sunday.
I think that is a very, very important question that needs to continue to be asked throughout the 2022-2023 season.
Agreed.
Once again, it is not a right to play in the NFL. Right. You do not have the right to play in the NFL. It is a privilege that you have to earn and continue to earn. And I don't know, man. That whole thing is just gross. All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And if you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you are doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate. and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn, Plank. That's the fancy
corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan, and became the first American distillery to win that competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but yes, the owners, they are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, boys, for my winner of the week, I'm going Steph Curry. Golden State Warriors back in the NBA Finals. Boston Celtics coming off back-to-back tough 7-game series, right? Boston got it done, though, in Miami there in Game 7 on Sunday night. I was in Miami during that game, and that place is – Miami's just a different world, boys. I mean, it is – whoa. I mean, just a lot going on.
You should clarify, you weren't there for Game 7.
I did not go to Game 7. We thought about it, checked the price of tickets, and decided, you know what? We'll not do that. We'll go do something else. But in hindsight, after the total carnage of the weekend, we probably should have just bought Game 7 tickets. We probably, that would have been the better move for sure. But you look at it, and I'm pumped for the NBA Finals. I love the NBA. Can't wait to watch this series. But Warriors are well rested coming into this thing. And the one thing that Steph Curry does not have on the resume is an NBA Finals MVP. And you look at the odds for Finals MVP, and no matter where you look, he's the betting favorite to bring it home this year. And I think this could be the year, man. I think Boston is worn down. You look at the stuff that Marcus Smart has dealt with. You look at what Robert Williams, I mean, that guy just looks broken at times for the Celtics. They look a little worn out. And I think even though Golden State has an older roster, or at least the key players are older, as opposed to what you look at Boston with Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I do think, Game 1 coming Thursday night, I think this is going to be a really interesting series. And as important as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, I feel like Marcus Smart could be the key to this whole thing for Boston. His ability to make life tough on not only Steph Curry, but Klay Thompson. And maybe we'll see him on Jordan Poole a little bit, but I just honestly, I didn't think the Warriors would get back to this point so quickly, at least. And, when Kevin Durant left, especially after what happened to Klay Thompson with those two injuries, it's not like I'm rooting for the Warriors or anything, but it's impressive as hell what that franchise has done. 6 finals in 8 years.
And one of those years, they had the worst record in the NBA. They missed the playoffs.
Yeah. 6 finals in 8 years.
Unreal. Unreal.
Play with an Achilles and an ACL. Draymond, dude doesn't even shoot the ball anymore. But
he talks a lot.
Jordan Poole's been fantastic for him. The one thing that makes me a little hesitant, I'm picking the Warriors, and I think it has everything to do with them being the fresher team and the fact that they've been there before. A lot of these guys, right? The key contributors, they've been there. But one thing that is interesting, Boston, this little fun fact I saw on ESPN, the Boston Celtics, they're the only franchise that has a winning record against the Warriors since Steve Kerr took over in 2015.
Now, that's a stat.
Interesting.
I knew you'd like that, Plank. I had that one dialed up for you.
That's a stat.
It's amazing to think about this Warriors team and how far they've come. I mean, you just mentioned that they're, going to be the older team, which is crazy because they felt so young for so long. And, like even Draymond Green has gone from being a moron sending pictures of his junk on Snapchat for the whole world to see to what at times sounds like a voice of reason over some different things
he's
in the
podcaster.
NBA. Yeah,
he's a podcaster.
He's a podcaster with a gray beard.
It's wild. Steph Curry is. Let me just say, I hate Steph Curry. I cannot stand the guy. I don't like the way he walks around. I don't like the way he chews on that damn mouthpiece. Don't like anything about the guy. But he's amazing. And I don't know if in my lifetime I've ever seen a guy single-handedly change their sport as much as Steph Curry has. And it may be in any sport ever with what he's done.
Now, I know what you mean. You mean by the way that it's played, right?
By the way that it's played.
Because I would push back
now all the way down to high school.
Right. The only pushback I would have on that is I don't think anyone's changed the sport more than Tiger Woods changed golf. But that's more from the how guys would train, how they took care of their bodies, and then the business aspect of it. But yeah, it's hard to argue with, right? I mean, basketball, just in my lifetime, like it's changed. I mean, it's changed so much.
Yeah.
And it's because of Steph Curry.
Yep.
Like he made, like the go-to forever was having, a big, and they don't even exist anymore. It's like
you got to shoot the three. If you're 7 foot, you got to shoot the three, Ted.
Yeah.
You got to be Chet Holmgren.
Plank, with you being a Lakers fan, I assume that you will be rooting against the Celtics. Is it that simple?
No, I root against the Warriors. Johnny come latelys, little suddenly act like they've been some sort of mecca for the last 30 years. No, it's tough. I kind of root for both teams to lose. I don't know if that's possible. I'm going to see if I can get some odds on that. But listen, it's hard not to kind of be in awe of what Golden State has done, man. I mean, Jordan Poole was in the G League last year. Gary Payton II has been cut by like every team in the NBA, right?
And he may come back.
Yeah,
right?
He's supposed to play.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins was considered like a $25 million mistake, and Golden State is so it's hard not to, in all seriousness, respect what they've done. It's amazing.
Boston has to muck it up, right? That's the only way they can. But yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, we'll see. I hate saying this, but I do think the way that the series is officiated will be a big factor. And I don't want either of these teams to win the NBA title. I don't want to watch either of these teams win, but I'm picking the Warriors because of the experience factor. And I don't want to watch the Warriors win another title, man.
Warriors in 5.
Warriors in 5?
There's two storylines that come out of it. The talk. I better watch what I say. The dynasty talk with Golden State, if they're able to kind of.
Were you going to refer to dynasty talk as D talk?
D talk, yeah. Sorry. I caught myself rather quickly on that one.
Man.
I don't know.
D talk.
I didn't want to talk about the big D there. So there's two very annoying conversations, right? The dynasty conversation and then the Jason Tatum superstar, because he's already here, right? He's an all-NBA player. So and I don't know what these debate shows are going to do, because there's a day off between every game. 2 days off, between every game. It took them a week to get the damn thing started. So, good luck.
I will say, and Boston, I mean, if you watch a lot of NBA, you realize Boston arguably is the best defensive team. It has been the best defensive team in the league this season. But you look at the teams they've played in the playoffs, right? It was the Giannis show and then the Jimmy Butler show, right? And it's just going to be a completely different animal with the way the Golden State plays. And really, Golden State, I'm not going to make it sound like I'm a huge X's and O's NBA guy, but just the way they share the ball, it just seems different than pretty much damn near everyone else in the league. So it'll be interesting to see with a worn down Boston coming into that game. It'll be interesting to see just how they defend, like at what level they defend. So I don't know, but
Well, if you ever want to put me in a torture chamber, just show endless footage of Steph Curry chewing on his mouthpiece and Steve Kerr at a media availability.
Wearing his mask incorrectly. There you go.
Those are the two things that'll just like put me over the edge.
All right, for my loser of the week, I'm going with Aaron Donald, man, because he was on the I Am Athlete podcast, and if you haven't listened to that, it's very entertaining. But he just you can't contradict yourself like this. You just can't do it. He said his goal was always to play 8 seasons, right? And I completely understand that. He talked about how important winning is. Said if he's got a real opportunity to win a Super Bowl, then it makes sense to keep playing. But there's this quote in there where he says, "It ain't about the money. It's a business at the end of the day." What then it is? Yes. It's first of all, it's always about the money when you're a professional athlete. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. And what the one part about it that annoys me is in this interview on this podcast, he's like, if I don't play anymore, I'm at peace. Like with his career.
Right.
Listen, man, stop it. Stop giving those offensive linemen in the NFL slivers of hope that you're done playing, dude. That's mean. It's rude. Don't let them think they can breathe a sigh of relief that you're not going to be out there torturing them on Sundays. We all know you are, because the Rams are going to pay your ass. The money's going to make sense, right? It's going to make sense for you and your family. So Stop it. Stop giving these guys that play offensive line in the National Football League a false sense of hope that you're going to retire. It's mean, Aaron. Stop it. And it is a business. So yes, the money is, it may not be the only thing that matters, but it is kind of the main thing.
If you're going to retire, you got to handle things the exact opposite. If you're going to retire or if you're going to continue playing, either or, you got to handle things the exact opposite way Aaron Donald's going to. If you're going to retire, you need to act like you're energized to be the greatest of all time, and you can see yourself playing 5 more years in Los Angeles. That way, you sign a contract with a ton of guaranteed money up front. You get a huge payday. You nurse a hamstring for a year, and then you retire. That's how you do it, right? If you're trying to convince them that you're going to retire, guess what they're not going to want to do? Tie a bunch of guaranteed money to the front end of a contract. It's not what you want to do. It's the wrong way to approach it.
So confusing, Gabe. I have no idea what he's doing.
This is the quote. Here's one of the quotes right here. If I was to play, it's just to win another Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, it's still a business, and it got to make sense to me and my family. Once again, yes, you can't say it's not about the money, but it's still a business. No, it's about being fairly compensated for your performance. And the guy is arguably the best defensive lineman in the history of football. Just say, man, they better break me off. Just say it. Like, don't give all of us former offensive linemen, like, because watching O-linemen play against him gives me anxiety still. I'm still like, my God.
You were the Senior Bowl with them, for goodness sakes.
Yes. I never want to think about it again playing, but I still see the man of my nightmares. No, it's like, stop it with this. I may retire. We all know he's not retiring. And like you said, Ted, you're not going to retire, man. You're playing it all wrong.
Right.
This is is this some sort of reverse psychology I'm unaware of? I don't know, man, but I disagree with the way that Aaron Donald is going about it. And he probably doesn't care because he's so damn good at football. He can do whatever he wants. And that's fine, right? He's going to the Hall of Fame, even if he doesn't play another down. But I'm just really confused by some of the statements he made on that podcast. It was perplexing to say the least.
Well, he's a defensive lineman.
That's true.
Here's the thing, man. I totally understand if he was to say, I just won a Super Bowl. I'm healthy. I haven't had anything catastrophic happen in my life. I've made a ton of money. I've got options to go do some other things. I'm going to step away. I can understand that, but I know that's not going to happen.
No.
He's within the next couple of weeks will sign the biggest contract for a defensive player in the history of the NFL. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And you got that June 1st deadline where you've had some post June 1 cuts. So teams have a little extra money. The Rams are among them. And I still laugh every time I look at that draft class because Blake Bortles was the 3rd pick in that draft. And Aaron Donald went 19th in the first round. And he was the 2nd Rams player taken in the top 19 because they went with Greg Robinson, the offensive tackle out of Auburn, at number 2 overall.
Yeah.
And still got Aaron Donald in the top 15.
Greg ended up making some bad life decisions.
I had a friend that was the head strength coach at Pitt when Aaron Donald was there. And he told me then that he was going to be like one of the best players ever play in the NFL. He said he was just that explosive, that much different than every single other person that he was around. Crazy. He has not disappointed.
Your buddy was right.
Buddy was right.